I have a 5-year-old son that's in public schools right now. I have a lot of people asking me questions as far as the failing school systems that we have here in the Bronx.
Yeah.
What are we
They're failing.
What are we going to do to improve that in our school system?
No transgender, no operations.
He asked you, how are you going to improve my son's school in the Bronx? And you start talking about no transgenders.
No,
what are you talking about? What does that mean?
No operations, because that's what public schools are doing. They're doing operations.
No, but as you're about to see, this moron, this imbecile, this mentally challenged human being who's now tied for president at worst, not only believes the Department of Education shouldn't exist, so apparently Project 2025 is real, because that was the #1 thing in Project 2025, get rid of the Department of Education, and get a load of the lunatic conspiracy theory he's gonna say. Enjoy this.
What are we going to do to improve that in our school systems?
Well, we're moving them back from Washington, where you have people that don't care about New York, frankly. You know, in Washington, I don't know if you ever noticed this, you got Department of Education, Department of Education. You got half the buildings are Department of Education. I never saw, you don't need any of them. You know, I want one person and a secretary to just make sure they're teaching English, okay? Give it a little English, okay? I'd say reading, writing, and arithmetic. No transgender, no operations. You know, they take your kid. There are some places, your boy leaves the school, comes back, a girl, okay? Without parental consent. What is that all about? That's when they talk about a threat to democracy, they're a threat. Could you imagine, without parental consent? At first, when I was told that was actually happening, I said, you know, it's an exaggeration. No. It happens. It happens. There are areas where it happens. We're not going to let it happen. But we are going to straighten out a lot.
What are we doing? Come on, right wing. Really, he's not a lunatic? They're sending in the boys and they come back girls. Really? Who sent in a boy and
happens
came back
every day.
The real problem with education is, you know, millions of boys went into school and they all came back girls.
God.
Come on, man. Come on. You're going to support a lunatic to be president of the United States? What other absolutely crazy things is he going to say? And you're going to go, oh yeah, I don't know, it's true. It's true. I guarantee you there's like literally thousands of right-wingers watching this now, maybe tens of thousands.
I mean,
watching this right now go, no, it's true. All the boys are girls. All the Democrats are all the boys are the girls. I had a boy. I had 7 boys. They're all girls now. Idiots, lunatics.
I think the guy is convinced. I mean, just look at his face.
Yeah.
There he is. Totally buying it.
Okay, so look, now let's get back to planet Earth, where the brother asked, how are you going to help my kids' education? His first answer was shut down the Department of Education. Okay, all right, I get it. Right-wingers think, oh, the Department of Education is bad. They never quite really explain why it's bad, other than they turn boys into girls. Okay, I mean, like on this planet, what is wrong with the Department of Education? But I know they think they're intellectuals and they're like, oh, there's reasons why, blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay, fine. But what are you going to replace it with so that you answer his question? How are you going to help my son get a better education? Saying down, I'm gonna shut down some portions of education doesn't answer that question. And then he goes into a Latino community. He's like, I'm gonna get them to speak English, okay? Yeah, that's way to win over voters. That's great. And well, what's your sophisticated plan for education? Writing, reading, arithmetic. That's my sophisticated plan for education. Right, brother, did you ever take any of those classes?
Okay.
Because you can't even read past the page. So this moron, it says, I'm going to be your leader. My answer to education is shut it down. Only teach the simplest things so nobody gets educated, so they'll be stupid enough to vote for people like me.
Well, to be fair, our education system is failing our students on those very simple
Exactly,
things.
So what's your answer, Trump? It's not like there isn't a problem with education.
There is,
So
yeah.
can you give us a decent answer? You say, hey, I don't like the Democrats' answer to the Department of Education. I don't like this. Okay, great, what is your answer? They're turning the boys into girls. Look, if you believe that it doesn't matter, you're gonna vote for Trump because you're a lunatic and you've lost your mind and you don't know it. you're in a cult and you don't know it. So you think, oh, no, all the boys are girls now. So I can't talk to you because you're not on this planet.
Yeah.
For everyone else, please don't let that lunatic become president again. 4 years of utter chaos.
What I want to know is, how did his mind immediately go toward fear-mongering about transgenderism when, I mean, that question for a Republican was a layup. I mean, Republicans keep repeatedly saying that they're in favor of school choice. I was shocked that he didn't even, his mind immediately wandered off to transgenderism. It's just fascinating. Anyway, continue.
Look, guys, there's a couple of things that drive me crazy. Like when people deny reality, that's when I get most livid. So when the Democrats were denying that Joe Biden was too old and was in mental decline, I was losing my mind. I'm like, are you guys gonna seriously lie to the whole country and pretend that he's not in mental decline? And you don't think we have eyes and ears? And I say the same exact thing to the right wing, who are like, no, I don't see it, man. He seems perfectly sane. All right. Well, if you like crazy, well, then you got the right candidate. But for the rest of us, here, we're down to Trump Bracket's last question. Finals, championship. This one's gonna be open till Friday, I think. TrumpBrackets.com. There was to start with hundreds of crazy stuff that Donald Trump has said and done. And we have, our audience through their voting has narrowed it down to threaten to target his political opponents if reelected, or called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution. Okay, I know MAGA doesn't believe anything except Bob on Facebook, who recommended ivermectin, and he knows better than all the scientists in the world. So here's Donald Trump actually saying he's going to threaten his opponents.
But wouldn't it be terrible to throw the president's wife and the former Secretary of State? Think of it, the former Secretary of State, but the president's wife into jail. Wouldn't that be a terrible thing? But they want to do it. So it's a terrible path that they're leading us to, and it's very possible that it's going to have to happen to them.
It's very possible it's going to have to happen to them. Look, him trying to do the fake elector plot, not stopping the violence on January 6th, on and on, didn't even make the finals. Terminating the Constitution and saying that he's going to arrest his political opponents did. You know why? Because we don't want a dictator. I don't want people that didn't commit any crimes, that are not even charged with crimes, to be arrested for no reason because they were the opponents of Donald Trump or the opponents of anybody. I know. If you're MAGA, you're like, oh, they did that to us just because Donald Trump has lifelong track record of doing financial fraud, and just because he took home our top nuclear secrets, and just because he broke every law, conceivable law. I can't believe you arrested our dear leader. The leader should be above the law, but our political opponents should be arrested. Do you know what you sound like? Okay, but if you're not convinced by any of that, he literally said we should terminate all the rules, regulations, and articles of the Constitution because he thought there was massive fraud in the 2020 election. So if I lose, I get to terminate the Constitution. So if you vote for Trump, don't ever say that you were for the US Constitution. No, you voted for the guy who literally wanted to terminate the Constitution so he could stay in power. So I don't know how you're gonna vote between these two, but good luck to you, TrumpBrackets.com.